and I'll be your anchor this evening. I bid you welcome to another exciting episode of the show. I'm standing in for the regular host of the show, that is Kayode Ikiolu. Today promises to be very exciting, educative, and I dare say insightful. I've got great guests on the show today, and they are ready to do justice to the topic. But first things first, what is life without sharing? I'd like you to tell someone who knows someone that Bankers Community Radio Show is on air right now. Tell them that they can listen to the show on any Radio Nigeria station in their state. And if you're someone that likes the digital space, don't worry, you can go online and watch via smegrowth.ng. I'm going to take that again, smegrowth.ng. You can watch us live, you can make comment or ask questions. I'm pretty sure that my guests are ready to answer your questions in the studio today. And not only that, you can join us in the studio via calls. The numbers to call are 0700 7000 977. Again, 0700 7000 977. You can also send messages to 091 62 57 1214 and text messages to 0901 133 9791. Okay, what are we talking about this evening? Like I said earlier, it's all about Nigeria's economy. It's all about buying local. Some people will say, now we own, make we buy them. Today's topic is buy local, supporting made in Nigeria brands. Now, I want you to play a quick game. Let's play a quick game before we start. It's what I called your Nigerian brand O-meter. Before we started the show, I was playing the game with my guests right here in the studio. I want you to ask yourself, how Nigerian are you with what you have on you? Now, take a look at yourself from head to toe. Look at what you have from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. How many items are on you that are locally produced? Now, do that quick test for yourself. Is it 1, 2, 3? Now, while you rate yourself, I'm going to bring in my wonderful guest, and I'm going to ask you for your answer later. My guests are super ready to answer my questions and your questions as well. I've got guests right here in the studio, and I believe some people will join me online as well. I've got right here in the studio, I've got the division head strategy, innovation and business transformation, Fidelity Bank PLC, Mr. Adetunji Mustafa. Good evening to you.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to see you right here in the studio. We also have Shola Gabriel, Head Strategic Planning, Polaris Bank. Good evening to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
And of course, the lady in the mix tonight is Dr. Lydia Sule. She's the Assistant Director, Acting Head, Talent Management Division, Central Bank of Nigeria. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's get into the conversation, shall we? We've got lots of questions right here. And the question I asked earlier was about how Nigerian are you? Let me start with Dr. Lydia Sule. You know, we say ladies first, then we'll follow. Okay, so Dr. Lydia Sule, let me ask you, can you do that Nigerian brand O-meter for yourself and ask yourself, how Nigerian are you? Like, is your cloth Nigerian? Is your footwear Nigerian? Is your skirt Nigerian? Tell me quickly.
I wish I knew this question was coming up. I would have done a bit more, but right now, I think the best I have that is Nigerian is my hair. So that's all I've got. And that's how Nigerian I am today.
Let me take from Mr. Adetunji Mustafa. The land is green.
That's the only thing Nigerian about me right now, to be honest.
That's actually interesting. Wonderful. Okay, my third guest on the show. I'm talking about Shola Gabriel. Shola, How Nigerian are you, talking about what you have on right now?
It only turned out this way today. I'm not always like this. It happens I'm not Nigerian today at all, but not always like this.
And sometimes made in Nigeria, you might not just know. People are making shirts that you have on right here in Nigeria. And talking about me, I think my top is made in Nigeria. My footwear, my watch is not made in Nigeria, but my top is an Ankara made fabric. So it's made in Nigeria. So continue to do that test for yourself. Let me go to my very first question right now. What has been, and I'm starting from the gentleman in the studio, Adetunji, what in your experience has been the biggest factor impeding us from buying local? You know, we just did a test for ourselves now. So what do you think has been the biggest factors stopping us?
Okay. Perception of quality. That's number one. People believe that made in Nigeria is inferior, to what is brought from abroad, and that is not true. Made in Nigeria is not inferior. And number two, pricing challenges. There is also made in Nigeria products are relatively more expensive, than the imported product. And the answer is simple because of scale and infrastructure, economic factors and so on. So the Nigerian producer is producing at a more expensive price, and that reflects on pricing. And then there is also a cultural mindset that foreign is better. The average Nigerian believes that it's almost a bragging right. Oh, my shirt is from Turkey, my suit is from Italy, my shoes are from Brazil, and so on. So it's a mindset that we need to get rid of. And then certain items are also not available sometimes. You see them and then you want to get them and they are not available. That is because sometimes Nigerian producers are unable to scale. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Adetunji. Let me also get the feedback from other people. Dr. Lydia, what do you think is the biggest factor or are the biggest factor stopping people from buying local in your own experience?
Well, thank you very much for that question. So personally, I would say very similar reasons to what Mr. Adetunji just mentioned right now. First of all, is quality. I tried to do a mini research just to ask my friends when I discovered what the topic is today. And I asked people, why don't you buy Nigerian products? The first thing that came was quality. So there is the perception and also to some extent reality and experience that some of the quality of products or the quality of some of the products that we have is lower than what we have imported. But then on the flip side is that when you find something of very good quality, then it might be far more expensive than something that is imported. So we're looking at quality, poor quality on one side, and then on the other side, where there's very good quality, then the price is really high, higher than what you would find. The other thing is accessibility and availability, just like Adetunji mentioned. Sometimes something is available in the country, you can find it, but it's not readily accessible because the scale of it or the spread of it is not readily accessible to you or where you find yourself. So sometimes people produce things, but they can't get it to the people who need them at the time that they need it. So that's also another challenge. And then the other that we also have. I have a bag, and where I don't want you. I would assume that I want the perception to be, oh, well, whose bag is this? When we talk about designers in coats, we want that, even though there are Nigerian designers, but we want the big names, the names that everybody has heard. So there's that cultural orientation and that perception as well. Those are some of the things that impede our patronage of our local products.
Right for the bag. Okay. All right. You mentioned things about quality, accessibility, and Adetunji also spotlighted quality and pricing being an issue. Let me come to Shola right now. I'd like to take your perspective. What do you think are the biggest factors stopping us from buying local, buying Nigerian-made products?
Yeah, I think they said it all, almost said it all. But a few things I also noted. I think what Insula said about availability, that's very apt. Um, at times it's easier for you to get something from the abroad rather than get locally, you know. You can go on the net and easily get an item, maybe on a foreign e-commerce site. And the thing may just be at your doorstep, the local alternative, and you don't know. So that's a major factor. And I think something that is also important is that a number of us don't understand the linkage between buying local and aiding the local economy. A number of people don't. They just feel I'm just buying. So what has that got to do with? Am I helping the local market? Am I helping uh, standard of living? So that I believe the more people understand those linkages, that once you buy local, you help your economy, you help even the value of the naira. Everybody complains about the exchange rate, but is whatever the exchange rate is today, major part of it is the aggregation of our the point of aggregation of our behavior when it comes to buying foreign products. So I think those 2 points are also very vital. In addition to all that, my panelists have said, co-panelists.
For that, I like the fact that you brought the nexus between buying local and improving the economy. When we see like let's say the domino effect of what we do when we patronize that person that sells that made in Nigeria product, and we see it grow in our gross domestic product. Talking about that, there's a statistic I saw before coming on the program, and according to the National Bureau of Statistics in 2023, the informal sector, where many indigenous brands operate, accounts for over 60% of Nigeria's GDP. And this is a statistic that I saw. Another one that I saw is the NBS says Nigerians spent a total of, wait for it, 21.51 trillion naira. We spent it on importation of goods, including foodstuff, over the past 4 years. Now, when you look at that report and you see the breakdown, you see that we spent a lot on even food in the total number of things that we actually spend money on. A good percentage of that could actually have gone to local businesses, I dare say. And this is really staggering. Now, let me come to the question. I would like to start from the man in the studio as well and go around as well. I want to know, how can prioritizing these brands amplify this contribution? You mentioned a bit on it, but I want us to expand further. How can the fact that we prioritize this brand amplify the contribution that we are making to these local brands? Just like the NBS highlighted, that if we keep supporting these local brands, we're going to keep increasing our GDP.
Okay, first of all, the Bureau of Statistics said is 60%. I think that figure is understated, because most Nigerians are involved in the informal economy. And I will give you a statistic. A few months ago, there was a video that trended on social media of a lady that went to serve, and then she now went to thank her father, either her father or her mother, who sold stockfish to send her to school, something like that. So each time you patronize that stockfish seller, each time you patronize that woman that sells roasted plantain on the streets, you are not only patronizing the business, you are alleviating poverty. You are probably helping send somebody to school. You are probably helping send, it out off the road. So apart from the economic impact, there is also the social impact, which is often, you can't even measure that. So it's important. You are boosting job creation. And then when we patronize local artisans, for example, you also boost innovation and you increase skill level. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad that you've started mentioning some of the benefits of the fact that when we buy local, it affects everything: economic impact, social impact. And I like that particular story you mentioned. Let me come to Dr. Lydia right now. Can you expatiate on the benefits of buying local?
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me is job creation. And that's basically the fact that local businesses employ people that are Nigerians that live in Nigeria. And what that means is that, of course, there's some social stability, there's reduction of poverty, there's improved standard of living for the people who live within the country and have these jobs. And the more local businesses expand or grow, or they're being patronized, then they can even employ more people. And that means our economy will grow as well. So revenue is also generated from this local business. And this revenue can indeed help with other things that we need as a nation of these local businesses as well. These businesses are able to produce and also have their businesses meet with the demands more efficiently. While there's also economic diversification for the local businesses, and then there's increased competitiveness for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you. Let's go to Shola right now. I want to hear your perception on that. What are the benefits of buying local? What will happen if I continue to patronize made in Nigeria products?
Is there's really no, if we are going to grow this economy and if we are going to achieve progress as a nation, this is not negotiable. We all need to begin to look inward and begin to patronize, buy Nigeria, buy what we produce and feed ourselves. If you look at whenever you buy foreign products, like my colleague said, they are actually shipping job out of the country. You are importing poverty. That's what you're doing indirectly, but that's what it sums up to. A major part of the insecurity we have today is also there's an economic dimension to the insecurity problem. If we begin to have the attitude of buying local, we are going to take many people off the road. We are going to take many people, we are going to, it will address part of the insecurity situation that we have. So we really don't have a choice than to begin to look inward, begin to purchase things that are locally made. That's the only way to help the economy. And if we don't, if we continue to look outside for everything we need, and that we are not helping this market.
In case you just joined us, the program is Bankers Committee Radio Show, Nigerian Bankers Committee Radio Show, right here on Metro FM. All right. Okay. And you can watch us everywhere on Radio Nigeria Network. That's where we are. In case you don't know, you can also go online and watch us there, smegrowth.ng. The numbers to call are 0700 7000 977. We'd like to hear from you, be part of the conversation, be part of what we're discussing in the studio. You can send a message to or WhatsApp to 0916 257 1214. I'll take it again, 0916 257 1214. Today we're talking about buying local, supporting made in Nigeria brands, and that's our focus for today. I've got three guests right here talking about our topic. Okay, I'm still talking about the benefits. Now that we've listed the benefits, I want us to know the solution right now. How do we fix this? We know that buying in Nigeria is good. Now, how do we fix this? How do we fix this? Let's go to Adetunji right now. What are the fixed plans that we have in place to encourage people to buy made in Nigeria products?
Okay, so I'll just speak to some of the issues and how we can fix them. We spoke about consumer habits and mindsets. A while ago, the National Orientation Agency, I believe, launched a campaign. They called it Buy Naija to Grow Naija. something like that. I think we need to have a lot more of that. We used to have growing up, I remember when I was growing up in Lagos, we used to have a lot of that on NTA,
National Orientation Agency.
yes, all those phrases. Well, I don't hear a lot of them nowadays, but maybe we need to go back to those days and, just sell the Nigerian story, sell the Nigeria story to Nigerians. Let's talk about our successes. I think people are quick to talk about our failures or our failings as a nation. We also need to talk about our successes. We need to talk about Nollywood. We need to talk about our music that is all over the world. We need to talk about Innocent. I hope I won't get a bill for advert, that is exporting now to other countries. We need to talk about the companies, local manufacturers, that are doing well. It's important. And then we must also make the environment conducive for local business to thrive. I think it's very important. Infrastructure is very key. It's key. We must develop that. We must develop our infrastructure so that our industries can thrive. And then for producers themselves, local manufacturers, they must scale. You must find a way to scale. You must automate. You must improve your processes. You must upskill. You must reskill. I mean, it's important so that your products can get to the final consumers. Thank you.
And thank you too. Let me come to Dr. Lydia, because she mentioned something earlier about quality. And my question now is perception of quality. A lot of Nigerians associate foreign goods with quality. They believe that, okay, because it's made from, in quotes, the abroad, it has to have higher quality. It's because in the past, many locally made products seem to have, durability issues. Now, my question right now is, how true is this today? And if it's true, how do we fix it? Because we're talking about solution right now. Is it a perception of quality? If it is, till today, how do we fix this, Lydia?
Yeah. All right. Thank you again. Quality. I think I was just trying to read up on this earlier, and there's also Adam Smith's theory about comparative advantage. And what that simply means is that there are some things that you're excellently good at, and there are other things that you might not be as good at compared to other people who produce the same thing. And I'll use an example. Didn't you just talked about Nollywood? Years ago, I wouldn't even bother to sit down for 30 minutes to watch a Nigerian produce movie or drama or whatever. But right now I do. And that's because quality has actually increased. And not just the quality, but also even the content. Well, that all comes up in quality when you're looking at something like that. And this has happened because over years, we've seen that there's support for that industry, there's awareness, there's training, there's also equipment improvement. There's so much that has come in that has improved the quality. I was reading up on the Friends posts, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and she was talking about a Nigerian movie that in 2 days, it had over 5 million views on YouTube, which was quite good. I watched it as well. I think I watched it within the first day. So that tells you that when we see what is good about what we have produced, we also need to market this. We also need to talk about it so that other people will hear about it. And the rest of the world, I was surprised to find out that Nigerian movies are watched across the globe and people are happy to engage, especially for the Black race. So it is a thing of pride. And we also carry it with pride. I was also having a conversation with a diplomat that was posted to Nigeria some time back. And he said there was something about Nigerians he loved. He said, we eat our own food, wear our own clothes, we listen to our own music, we dance, And that was the first time that I came across the fact that, okay, there's something Nigerian that Nigerians are proud of. And other people are looking at us and saying, oh, we can identify. So it's a perception thing. So it's we as a people. What is good, we will market it, we'll advertise it, we'll push it, we'll let the rest of the world know. So I think things that we're good at, we need to showcase this and patronize it. Maybe the other ones that we're not so good at, we need to put in the kind of effort we've put into developing and improving the quality, and then we'll have what it takes. We might not be good or excellent at everything, but we have to just be good at what we're good at and then sell that to the rest of the world. Thank you. Uh-oh.
Local balance, sell your market. I think that's what we need to continue to do. Fantastic. And talking about watching made in Nigeria movies, Nollywood, I've seen some people who come online to say, oh, I don't like watching Nigerian movies. They decrease my IQ. And I'm wondering, how on earth would you say that online? But different strokes for different folks. Let me come to you quickly before we go on a break, Shola. And I'm talking about mindset right now. For people like that who have a mindset about made in Nigeria products, whether movies, music, or anything we do, how should we change those people's mindset? How do we get out of the mindset about the preference for foreign goods as compared to Nigerian products? How do we change that mindset, Shola?
So I like the points Tunji made about celebrating our winnings, areas where things we're getting right. For example, today, if you look at Afrobeat has a lot of momentum globally. I believe it's something that our brands can build on in terms of things coming out of Nigeria. I believe we need to be more deliberate about telling a Nigerian story and promoting our product. I see a number of these in social media where people will compare things coming out of Nigeria. It could be, as I recall, I saw one about education in China, how students are educated. Then you now do a comparative of that with a Nigerian version and use something that is very debased in Nigeria to compare. Such stories they reinforce the belief of inferiority, that anything Nigerian is substandard. That is not true. So we have to begin to show the positives and begin to tell the things that we are getting right. Be deliberate about projecting that to the rest of the world. There's a lot that we are getting right in this country. There's a lot that we have going for us. I see foreigners coming to Nigeria and tell the Nigeria story better than what Nigerians are saying about us. So we need to project that, and our brand can ride on that and on the momentum that I believe we currently have in the Afrobeat space.
We need to go for a quick break right now. I'll take more after now.
Calm down. I go pay.
It's a no fit pay. Wetin be that?
Why everything just cost like this?
Na dollar o.
Dollar. How?
Baba, na true now. See your shoe, made in Italy. Your shirt made in Turkey. Even car where you carry come, made in Japan.
How all these ones take affect dollar?
You know say for the price of dollar to come down, get wetin we suppose dey do. We suppose dey export pass wetin we dey import. We suppose dey buy more made in Nigerian products. Make we dey support local businesses. And if we go carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, make we dey use international money transfer agents.
This is my friend, he too get sense. You know what will happen? Give am the bill, make it pay. Country people, make we join hand, reduce the pressure on top our naira. This message na from Bankers Committee.
All right, a lovely evening once again to you. It's still the show, Bankers Committee Radio Show, Nigerian Bankers Committee Radio Show, right here on Radio Nigerian Network. You can listen all over the country. Time check is 29 minutes to 6 in Nigeria time. And my name is Oludolapo Adewale, and I'm your anchor today. Today we're talking about buy local, supporting made in Nigeria product. And if you want to be part of the program, you can call the studio lines 0700 7000 977 0700 7000 977, or you can send a text message to 0916 257 1214. Text or WhatsApp to 0916 257 1214. Call the number 0700 7000 977. We'll be willing to take your comments and, of course, your questions for the lovely guests in the studio. So far, we've been discussing about the issues surrounding buying local, the benefits of buying local, and what to do next. I've got in the studio, I've got Adetunji Mustafa, I've got Shola Gabriel joining via Zoom, and of course, Lydia Sule joining via Zoom. All right, Adetunji, let's talk about branding now. Some brands often don't invest in branding, and we say we like packaging well. So, which of these are important in shaping how a product is perceived? Branding, packaging, or marketing? So let's look at branding and marketing in a big with a big picture right now.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's something every entrepreneur needs to know. Your product, branding, marketing, your product must tell a stories. I remember growing up as a little boy. Okay, so I won't mention the product. When you think that all soft drink is a particular name.
Okay.
So you say, I want to buy this instead of I want to buy, or even the toothpaste. You think all toothpaste, I want to buy a particular
name.
Because there is an affinity between you and the product. And that comes from branding. I think it's so, so important. And, if you are in a market where there is some, when the products are homogeneous, what distinguishes you is your ability to get into the psyche of the customer. That's what will make a customer. For example, all banks offer the same product. So why would a customer go to bank A and not bank B? It's how you are able to tell your story. It's how you are able to get into the psyche of the customer. It's how you are able to follow the customer on his journey and allow the customer to follow you on your journey. I think it's very, very important. Before I came online, I did a search. I did an internet search. I looked for Nigerian business that are 100 years old and above. I think I saw 4. Then I looked for business started by Nigerians that are 100 years and above. I saw only 1.
Say that again.
Business started. I look for Nigerian business in Nigerians. Started by either foreigners or Nigeria that are 100 years and above. I saw 4. So I now look for business started by Nigerians that are 100 years and above. I saw 1. You know why? Because businesses have not been able to create that affinity with the customer, and that is what branding will do for you. So if you're a business owner listening to me, yes, I know that margins are tight, austerity and all, but you must spend money on branding and you must get a professional. It is important because customers speak different languages. You must understand the language of your target, the target audience for your product. You must learn that language and you must speak that language. Thank you.
Profound words there. Understand the language of your customers. Branding is key. And I think that if we're to do a screen grab, we'll grab that one from Adetunji tonight. Okay, let's talk about production standards. And I'm coming to you, Dr. Lydia. In addition to saying quality standard, which is more of a regulation and government thing. Now, let's talk about local industries maintaining consistent quality control. One batch of a product could be great, and the next could be just different. Let's talk about this. Inconsistent production standards. How do we get out of this quagmire?
Thank you for this question again. Looking at standards and looking at what we have in the country, it brings back the story of our the late lady, Dora Akunyili. And when she headed NAFDAC, she brought the role of NAFDAC, the essence of it, to the fore for most Nigerians. And then we understood what that organization was trying to achieve in the country. And then also looking at the kind of, or would I say, the kind of challenges that the organization also faced. There's just so much, apart producers are producing or they're in business because they also want to make profits, but they need to also remember that it is the product that will bring in the profit. And like Adetunji just talked about, think about 100 years. 100 years is not so far back because there are businesses across the world that have lasted longer than that, quite a number. And if we're looking at the Nigerian situation or economy and we can't see that, then there's a fundamental problem. Because for me to buy a product over 10 years, the same product, it only means that that product must have maintained its quality and standard for that period of time, and it continues to serve my purpose. If it's not serving my purpose as a consumer, then definitely I'll go looking for another product. So business owners need to understand this, that products sell themselves. And products that sell themselves over a long time are products that maintain standards. Now, for the organizations within the country that try to enforce and ensure that standards are maintained, we have found that they are struggling, they are faced with a lot of resistance, but then they just need to continue. Now we know that if I have to buy any drug or some food item, I can check for expiry dates, I can check for its manufacturing, whether it's fake or it's real. Now we know that those things are there. But then these standards, one company can pass the standards test today, but then tomorrow it's a challenge. But businesses just need to understand that products sell themselves, and only products that maintain the standards can sell themselves over a period of time. Thank you very much.
I like how you ended. Only products that can stand the test of time. Very profound there. Okay, I saw something earlier before getting into the studio, and it was that report by NBS. The part that caught my attention again was on textiles. And, you know, textile industry is an industry that Nigeria once thrived in. And do you know what? We saw 1.93 trillion naira being spent in the 4-year period on textile products, a place where we could raise our shoulder high to say, yes, we produce fabrics in Nigeria, but we saw heavy importation in that regard. Now, let me come to you, Shola. Price versus value mismatch. That's what we're talking about right now. Sometimes made in Nigeria goods are just as expensive or even more expensive than imported products. I saw some people saying things online recently about how they bought ready-to-wear goods that, though they're good, but they are expensive. So how can the customer or consumer get value as against, expensive price? How can we match the price and have value?
So, thank you for that question. There's a number of things that goes into pricing. Production cost is a material part. And I think last week when we were having this conversation, there was we saw that about 30% of the production cost of most companies goes on to power. And that compares to maybe under 10% in some other jurisdiction. That's already putting the product at a disadvantage because that cost will be passed down to the consumer. So when you have infrastructure challenges, it weakens the competitiveness of the economy and also the ability of local brands to compete. So that's on the infrastructure side of things. So attending to infrastructure challenges also will come with those benefits of helping the competitiveness of our local brands. That's a major part of it. I think I didn't really talk about scale. Scale is also, because if you produce at scale, there are some costs that regardless of the quantity, you just must incur those costs. So if you produce at scale, it gives you the unit cost begins to go down the more quantity you produce. And of course, you won't produce at scale if the market is not there to take it. So, but those are the mindset and those are the targets that the businesses need to begin to have. Businesses have to begin to think beyond subsistence because brands today, you have to produce at quantities that one can sustain the business and they can also help your business to compete. Nobody produces these days anything you are producing. It's a global village. You must have the international market. Even if you are not serving that market, you must have it in mind that that's the market you are competing with. Because just when it's social media posts or whatever, give people access competition.
Before we go on a quick break, seconds, I want you to quickly talk about reduction of cost. You mentioned something about producing in scale, but for someone that is just starting a business, can you break it down quickly in 30 seconds?
Well, for somebody who is just starting a business, then the costs you have to attend to are those costs that you can control. One, you don't start a business, with so much financing cost. Just make sure that the costs you can control, you bring those within your control. Those you cannot control, you have very, little, they are not open for you to tinker with. And also quality. The cost, there is a belief, if the quality is there, people may be willing to pay a bit more, regardless of the cost. So there must also be an eye on quality. Now, if you deliver the right quality, the cost may be less of an issue. So those are the two things I think will be very critical.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. In case you just joined us, this is Bankers Committee radio show right here on Radio Nigeria Network. You can listen all over the country. Just tell someone that anywhere they are, they can get a Radio Nigeria station in their state and listen live. You can also watch us live on smegrowth.ng, smegrowth.ng, smegrowth.ng. That's where you catch us live on air. And I want you to send us a message. I want you to call us, be part of the conversation tonight. 0700 700 977 0700 7000 977. We're talking about buying local, supporting made in Nigeria brands. What do you think are the issues? What do you think we need to do better to support made in Nigerian product? Earlier on the show, Adetunji talked about revamping that, story that we used to hear: buy Niger, support Niger products. Is it high time we started ringing the message again, that people would really see that when we buy local, we're improving the economy? These are conversations we're having tonight, and I'd like you to be part of the show. If you can't call, do well to send a text or WhatsApp message to 0916 257 1214. Again, 0916 257 1214. We're having this conversation and it's getting interesting by today. Let me come to Dr. Lydia. We finished with Dr. Shola the other time. Let's come to Dr. Lydia right now. We've talked about reducing cost a bit. Now, on the part of the buyer, there's this dilemma, will I say, on the part of the buyer. How do you choose patriotism over economic sense? I want to buy this Nigerian product. This fabric looks good. This product looks good, but it's expensive, and I'm seeing an alternative from a foreign country. How can I say I want to be Niger for life and still make economic sense? Talk us through that.
Yeah. So being patriotic and also being a rational human being are just two different things. But then, of course, patriotism basically is thinking about the benefits of buying these products for our economy and our society. There are so many things that we can actually take the Nigerian product or alternative for. And it's just making that choice. Sometimes we can also be deliberate about it. I want a bag, but I want a bag that is made in Nigeria, so that anywhere I am, I can actually say, oh yes, this was made locally, and even talk about whoever the producer is or something else. There's so many things we can buy. I think even the food we eat, predominantly, it's actually locally produced. And what we have as an advantage with something like that is the fact that it is more nutritious, it's more organic. And so we go for things like that. Maybe because it's also very accessible, we might. But then we actually have choices, or let me say, yes, in the market, if you go, you find things that are made in Nigeria and other things from other places. Sometimes price might not even be the issue. And why do you still choose what is foreign rather than what is Nigerian? So when you have such products, deliberately, intentionally say, let me buy the Nigerian product. You're buying this because you want to create jobs, or you want to maintain jobs, you want to build the economy, you want to keep the money still in the country. That's being patriotic. Now, economic sense, if we're thinking about something that we're talking about durability, looking at the long run of having that product with you, you might want to choose something of better quality. But we've also said here that there are items or goods and services that have very good quality in Nigeria. The only challenge might be the price. In this situation, I would say, well, people are rational. The most rational thing to do is people might look at the income they have or whatever they would need funds for and make a choice between that. But where we have alternatives, especially Nigerian alternatives, that competes price-wise, quality-wise with whatever is imported, let's choose what is ours over what is not ours. Thank you very much.
Contribution there. Thank you, Lydia. And talking about products, Nigerian products that we can export, that we can buy, there are a couple of them. We've got textiles in Nigeria. We need to continue to support the textile industry, the Ashoke industry. We have cocoa that used to be like one of our major products. I still remember seeing the cocoa house in Ibadan and the stories we heard in our social studies while we were in primary school, how the proceeds from cocoa was used to build that building back then. We've got cashew, we've got different products that people export from this country to other parts of the country. And it's so sad that we still need to import food products, even though we have them in abundance right here in the country. All right, let me talk about the government policy right now. We've said a lot of things tonight. Let me go to Adetunji. Let's talk about government policies. At times, policies to protect or promote local products are not enforced as we want them to be. We talk about smuggling, the availability of cheap product to make local product less attractive. How can we tackle this menace?
Okay, thank you for that question. There are two ways that the government, or two broad ways that the government protects local production. One is the imposition of tariff, and two, we all know what tariff is, and two is the provision of an enabling environment, for local producers to thrive. And then three, it might also include provision of capital at low cost for local producers to assess so that they can scale. But why are those policies not working? Number one, we need to strengthen enforcement. A lot of our borders are porous. You can just throw into Republic of Benin from Idiroko and throw back.
But there was a time they said they closed the border.
Yes, they've opened it. So number one, we need to strengthen enforcement. Then the trade regulation and tariff also must be well structured. And, support for local manufacturing industry, you have the developmental institution, the Bank of Industry, and so on, should be so. And there are talks about an infrastructure bank, so all those things are important to produce, to give credit at low cost. Thank you.
All right, I'll still stay with you because we're wrapping up gradually. What is the action point that we should start doing from tomorrow? In fact, what must Nigerian consumers out there start looking for daily when they go to the market? You should start thinking Nigerian.
Okay, you need to look for authentic local brands. Don't be ashamed to wear Niger. Niger is not inferior. And I'll give you an example. That is Dr. Ngozi Okoji-Iweala. She's always dressed in
Nigerian outfit.
Yeah, Nigerian outfit and so on. That's a big advert for Nigeria. And we can all be that wherever you are. If you are abroad, look for that African shop, look for that Nigerian shop. In Atlanta, where you are, in London, where you are. It's important. It's part of the Nigerian story. Support local businesses, patronize local businesses, buy from local vendors, local artisans, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Good summation there. Let's go to Dr. Lydia. What should Nigerians look out for starting from tomorrow?
There are lots of there are lots of products or people selling things online. I think that's one of the fastest ways to access this product. There are producers, manufacturers of different things, and they have them online. So please, when you're browsing or you're checking for any of those things that you want to buy, try and check for those things that are very Nigerian and patronize them as well. They can deliver them to your doorstep. And the idea for me personally, I love to watch movies. So I know there's one right now in the theaters. I can't remember the last time I went to watch one. So I'll make a deliberate effort to do and watch one so I can tell the story as well. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And it will be a good time to unwind with your family. Okay, so Shola, right now, what should Nigerians look out for? What should Nigerian consumers look out for when making choices in the market?
Okay, so when making choices, of course, quality is important when you're making choices, but now that is about promoting Nigeria, let's throw in a bit of sentiment, and I think that sentiment should be more than a bit. I will say that going forward, can you make sure that whenever you step out of the house, there's a locally made product, at least that you are wearing. Could be your shoe, could be your wristwatch, could be the shirt, whatever, at least one. If we can run with that, just put on one locally made product. That will go a long way to promote Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Shola, for that submission. Just think of what to be as a Nigerian. And for me, my pledge today is that apart from my earrings that are proudly Nigerian made, I'm going to buy a footwear. I think I saw a lady producing Nigerian footwear. So I think that's my own commitment to buying local. I've enjoyed every bit of the conversation tonight, and I know you, the listener, also enjoyed it as well. You can watch a replay on the YouTube channel of Nigerian Bankers Committee. My name is Oludolapo Adewale, and it's been an absolute pleasure to bring this conversation to your doorstep. I want to thank my guest once again, Dr. Lydia Sule, Assistant Director, Acting Head, Talent Management Division, Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming. Adetunji Mustafa, Division Head Strategy, Innovation and Business Transformation, Fidelity Bank PLC, and of course, Shola Gabriel, Head Strategic Planning, Polaris Bank. Thank you, gentlemen and lady, for coming on the program today. Special thanks to the crew that worked behind the scenes to make this production beautiful. Engineers Daniel Kuye, Rilwan Oladejo, Olatunde Abdulateef, Studio Manager Idowu Eusebio, Assistant Producer Oluleye Adegboye, and of course, Maria Uwoma, Producer, Director, Lagos Operations, Bolanle Owoyemi. And of course, thank you to Kayode Okikiolu, who I'm filling in for today. Once again, Oludolapo Adewale Remido is my name. Watch the replay on YouTube channel of Nigerian Bankers Committee. We'll see you again some other time. Remember, buy local, buy Nigerian-made products. God bless you.
It makes sense. I go pay.
Please, I no fit pay o. Wetin be that?
Why everything just cost like this?
Na dollar o.
Dollar. How?
Baba, na true now. See your shoe, made in Italy. Your shirt made in Turkey. Even car where you carry come, made in Japan.
How all this one take affect dollar?
You know me say for the price of dollar to come down, get wetin we suppose dey do. We suppose dey export pass wetin we dey import. We suppose dey buy more made in Nigerian products. Make we dey support local businesses. And if we go carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, make we dey use international money transfer agents.
This my friend, it too get sense. You know what to go happen? Give am the bill, make it pay. Country people, make we join hand, reduce the pressure on top our naira. This message na from Bankers Committee. It makes sense. It makes sense.
I dey come here agree for you.
It makes sense.
I dey come here agree for you.
Calm down. I go pay.
You say I no fit pay o.
Chai,
Wetin that?
why everything just cost like this?
Na dollar o.
Dollar. How?
Baba, na true now. See your shoe, made in Italy. Your shirt made in Turkey. Even car where you carry come, made in Japan.
How all this one think affect dollar?
You know say for the price of dollar to come down, get wetin we suppose dey do. We suppose dey export pass wetin we dey import. We suppose dey buy more made in Nigerian products. Make we dey support local businesses. And if we go carry dollar enter Nigeria or any other foreign currency, make we dey use international money transfer agent.
This my friend, he too get sense. You know what go happen? Give am the pay, make it pay. Country people, make we join hand, reduce the pressure on top our naira. This message now from Bankers Committee.
Part of its financial literacy and public enlightenment Monday, the Bankers Committee has come up with the 2025 MSME radio show. The objectives is to deepen MSME understanding of the evolving changes in the subsector, business strategies for growth and various national and international policy, financial experts from deposit money banks, development partners, regulatory institutions, and successful entrepreneurs would arm listeners with premium financial knowledge. Tune in to the network service of Radio Nigeria between 5 to 6 p.m. every Monday. Topics to be covered are cashless policy and alternative payment channels, contactless payment options, sourcing FX, agency banking, raising capital, and cross-border trade. To find out more or register, visit www.smegrowth.ng on Facebook and Instagram at Bankers Committee, FLPE.